Welcome back, guys. Hey, we're back in the garage and we are starting, like we talked about in the last video, on building the 4Runner. So first things first, as we said in the last video, we are actually going to go ahead and build a custom roof rack. Now this one is kind of interesting. It takes inspiration from some of the leading brands out there, but what I wanted personally was a modular rack that also was a basket. So and I wanted something that was corrosion resistant, which means I wanted aluminum versus a powder coated steel. So with that in mind, let's get at it. First things first, we got to take off the existing roof rails that came from the factory. So let's get after that. So with the existing roof rails on the 4Runner, as you can see, they have a cap and a rail system. My very used antenna, and what we got to do is actually take off the end caps first by prying them here, popping these off. You can see I've already done it on the other side. I'm trying to do a little bit of a Martha Stewart style, where I learned first and then showed you. So we're gonna pop these off, and then underneath there's some 12mm bolts which will zap off and be able to remove the rails. Now we have both caps off. You can see the 12mm bolts. Pops off just like that. Okay, so as you can see, there's two holes. This is 12mm. I gotta actually check the thread pitch on this because I'm gonna buy different bolts, but they put red thread in there. Now, what I've been told is, you can see, so you can see right there, there's a bit of a hole. Now with the gasket system that comes from the factory, it keeps water out, but when we're doing this, we're going to need to put a spacer in there to adjust the gap for where the new uprights are going to be, as well as seal the inside of the cabin from the outside elements. I've already gone ahead and built one of the uprights. So what this is 1/4" aluminum. It was an L bracket, and I got it like 3x3 and then cut it down, because what I want to do is create this very strong type of upright to attach to the side rails. So that's going to sit right like that, and then we're just going to make sure that it's plumb up and down, and by adjusting the shims underneath and the spacers underneath. Okay, so here's the extruded aluminum roof rails we're going to use. There's a 2" by 1" extrusion, and I got them 48 inches long, knowing that I was going to have to cut them to fit. So basically, get these things set up, and I think I got 8 of them, but we're going to run them like this. Okay, so the plan will be to have them going across the roof like this and joining into I don't know how to describe it actually. Basically, we're going to put a 4" section of aluminum that they'll bolt all into, and then that'll create kind of the basket system and mounting hardware. And in the front, we're going to do something special. Okay, now that we got that figured out, we got all the original hardware off, we can go ahead and start making the uprights to connect to the side rails. I'm feeling like this is probably going to be a multi-video series, just because there's actually quite a bit of machining that we got to do to make them right. And plus, the overall weight of the rack matters, so I want to make sure we're doing our normal add lightness and reducing our overall material whenever we can, but still having the amount of strength. Okay, so we're back down in the shop, and first steps first is we got to cut basically 4 more of these. Sorry, I decided actually I'm going to cut this other one in half. That's going to be the front ones. I want to try a little bit different technique on these. So we're going to cut 4 of these for the back. Okay, so we got 4 of them all put together. They're a little bit rough, so we need to just go ahead and we're going to hit with the flapper disc now. Just shave it off, make sure that it's as even as it can be. Okay, I stepped away for a second and had to think about how I was actually going to do this template. Realize originally we're going to use basically a template marked off the actual original rails, but then I got thinking about it and I was like, no, I have to be really sure that I know where exactly it's going to land on these things because I need enough room to get the washers in. So instead what we're going to do is transfer it over to a piece of Bristol board, then go into the garage and actually check it against what the hole size is on not only the gutters and the where the holes are, but also just the overall amount of space. So we make sure that we got it exactly where we need it to be. So from our measurements, we know how wide this actually is, and got it marked down right here. And then we can just create basically a square, or sorry, rectangle, and then mark out where exactly the holes are going to be. Okay, well, this is why we template, to make sure. It looks like we're pretty good over here. That works. Over here, a little tight on this one. Okay, so we gotta move it over. Let's call it 5 mils. We're just gonna write that down. 5 millimeters. Yeah, should be it. Okay, we got all the brackets marked now for where the holes are going to be to attach it to the 4Runner, and next we just have to drill them out. Okay, test fitting our first one here, and I mean, it looks really good. Lines up well. I just need to get some beveled washers so I can get plumb, but yeah. So our next step is actually going to be to bring up the side rails, clamp them to the mounts, and kind of just check where exactly we want the rack to land fore and aft. The sections I got were like quarter inch thick, 4 inches wide of aluminum, but they were like 8 feet long. So I know I gotta cut them. I just gotta select where I want to cut them. Okay, fast forward a couple days, we got the side rail up. Everything's real loose right now. We just got it clamped. And the reason is I wanted to understand exactly where it was going to fall on the front and the back. One of the things we did want to check is this. That's the clearance when the rear hatch is open. I've seen a lot of these that obviously didn't take that into account, and it either gets really close or damages that, spoiler, rear aero piece. Anyways, that's one of the other things we wanted to check. So all I'm going to do is mark this. I think this is about as far as we're going to go on this episode. Whole idea at this point is to now CAD this about where exactly I want the holes, and then actually have these either laser or water jet cut so that they're perfect. I originally was going to do it on the drill press / mill, and then realized that that was probably going to be a bigger headache and add variability that I don't want. So for now, we're going to cut it here, leave you with this setup. You can see where we're going with this. Run the crossbars across, and then I'm going to do something a little fun on the front end with some carbon fiber. Anyways, hope you guys are enjoying this series. To get this cut, it's probably going to take a couple weeks. So in the meantime, we got to switch back onto the STI. Got a little bit of a leak that we got to take care of on the front end, so we're going to jack that up and start working on that. Till then, as always, hit the subscribe button, graze over that like button if you enjoyed this, leave a comment. What do you think? I got a whole color scheme coming you gotta think you're gonna like. Until then, stay safe, have a good night.